Welcome to the October meeting of the Jaffna Club. As usual, so the agenda. So my welcome address, which I always keep short, and our speaker is Miller Alexander. So Miller spoke 2 years ago, almost exactly 2 years ago. And his company, where he's chief operating officer, has made massive strides in that time. So I'm very happy to have him again. So I'm just going to go through our objectives. The club will facilitate, foster and support social intercourse and fellowship among its members. It will build a network of members and non-members that can work together to promote the economic development of the Northern Province. What is the club for? The club is a catalyst. So when I say it's a catalyst, the club isn't trying to build itself up. The club doesn't invest in any companies. The club doesn't raise funds. It doesn't donate funds. What it does is it helps people like us connect with each other. And that's at this live Zoom and also the recording, which is watched by many people separately. So it helps people like us connect with each other and it helps people like us connect with Northern entrepreneurs and business opportunities. We've been running since September 2020, and I noticed that in the last meeting, I said it was our 3rd birthday. It actually was our 4th birthday. We have never missed a month. So I'll slowly page forward. You can see the sort of people who have spoken at our presentations. So we've had entrepreneurs, CEOs, general managers, Governor of the Northern Province, previous Governor, Jeevan Thiagaraja. We've had young entrepreneurs. We have had diaspora who've come back, Raj Janan from New York, Sugandhan from Toronto, Justin from California, Stephen Hall, head of the Halo Trust, spoke to us. Halo Trust is the NGO that is demining, removing wartime mines. Stephen's moved on to another country. We've had lawyers. Anand Sentharaja, head of the Sri Lankan chapter of World Vision, a worldwide NGO. And last month we had Tulasi Mutalingam, English language journalist and educator. So now I will hand over to Miller, SenzMate IoT Intelligence. So Miller, if you'd like to take over. I'm to stop this share.
Thank you so much, Jahan. Great pleasure to meet you all. It's an honor to present again after 2 years' time. So let me share my screen, and I'm more than happy to answer any question if you have in between or later my presentation. So today my main agenda is I like to share where we start from north and where we are at the moment and what we progress. And there's a very interesting initiative we took in the northern province. We believe that's a dream project, and we believe that can be create a lot of impact in the agriculture ecosystem and going forward. So let me take you through a small journey where we're coming from. So let me know whenever you can see the screen. Jagan, hope you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can.
Right. So thank you everyone for joining today. So SenzMate, we are a pioneer IoT company from Sri Lanka, IoT and AI. So we call ourselves Artificial Intelligence of Things, AIoT company. So our specialization, we are pioneers in sensor-based IoT technology in 2014-13 period. So even we are one of the early movers in the region of Asia Pacific itself. So we all started in YAL IT Hub. hope many of our members know about the IoT Hub. So we were one of the early movers in the university period. I'm from Jaffna University Computer Science Department. And my friends, Jonathan and John, they are from Motor Electronic Engineer, and especially John is the island second ranker in 2009. So it's an amazing team. So we all same age group members met at the IoT Hub, start a vision company called SenzMate. So SenzMate, so these guys are electronic engineers, my friends. So there was a time period in 2013, 14, where post-war, we are the first batch after the war, getting into the university. And there was a need in the agriculture ecosystem where it needed to thrive. And it was very legacy and conventional for a very, very long time due to the war condition, and it was not exposed much to the world. And so there was an important problem our team identified. So majority of the working force is depend on agriculture, and they working so the power comes only like 2 hours 3 hours in the midnight time on random time period during the day, just 2 years from the war. So that's very risky going in the nighttime, 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. to irrigate your farm, and it landmines are not completely cleared, and the poisonous snakes and everything. So this is a very simple technology, 2013, that was the high tech, where it's a IoT device connected to your irrigation pump, and you can send an SMS, you can schedule an SMS, or you can switch off or switch on your irrigation motor, basically putting a switch to your irrigation pump. That was very interesting that time period. It's not that cutting edge technology at the moment, but that time it was very innovative. So people liked it. Probably we are the first community funded tech company in this country. So we were invested by the RLITF community members, and we received like $20,000 in 2014 and become bankrupted within 6 month period. Being so much engineers put all the effort and money into the hardware and technology, and we realized farmers adapt the technology, but they can pay only like $5 a month maximum. That's it. So, but we have invested like $20,000 on the technology and recovering like $5 each in a month. There is no way that we can recover. So we came back to Colombo in 2016. And just after the graduation, we never sit for any interviews. I took my transcript and certificate like maybe 2 3 years back only. So we never sit for any interviews. We are born, I mean, from the day two from graduation, we are entrepreneurs. So we learn everything from ourselves. It's hard-won learnings. And so 2016, we getting into Spiralation, which is a government grant program, because we had a platform. So that platform is capable to do wonders in that time period. So from that grant, we pivot from agriculture to post-harvest technology. We put sensors again, but in storage facilities, cold rooms, reefer trucks, silos, storage mechanisms. So that took a big hit. So we had a fantastic success story, starting from John Keels to Atkins Spence, all the big blue chip companies who are into logistic, pharmaceutical, and hospitality industry who working with cold supply chain or environmental sensitive product transportation and storage become our client base. So we started to create a reputation in 2015, 16 with a small team building everything. So the best part comes later on. In 2017, we are mature entrepreneurs. Our dream project was in agriculture. We are an IoT company. And John Keels, being a client for a long time, they invest on our spin-off venture called SenzAgro, which is an agriculture tech-focused company. Again, the same technology, sensors and automation, but in a much advanced way with smartphones and global crop intelligence and so on. So from that moment, we had a fantastic thrive. So we incorporate our company in US and London in the past 2021, 2022. So 50 engineers team. So we are the largest dedicated IoT and AI tech company in Sri Lanka at this moment. And 120 engineers plus while working from North. And we figure out we can work cutting edge AI technology for Starbucks, HSBC from Northern Province Jaffna. So we figure out how it can be done. So happy to say from 2 to 150 engineers, that's the story I like to share with you and what went well. and how we use that opportunity to thrive on this particular reach. So as I explained before this call, so next year our plan is to establish in Europe because we were very strong at the moment in Canada and US and UK. So we try to expand our network and our product line and services, especially in the EU market. So our difference, so we are a team of engineers and very established, experienced entrepreneurs and industrialists. Ruben, you probably know, is one of the well-known figure in the tech ecosystem from Tamil community. So Ruben basically have 32 patents and exit two companies to over $1.3 billion. So his experience on this and network help us to reach out to the global market very rapidly. And Mr. Bernard Chinaya is a very good well-wisher. It's an interesting story where we met Bernard in 2017 in Barcelona with Mobile World Congress. And 3 years later, he ended up investing on SenzAgro and become a part of the company as well. And our very own Sayantanana is from YAL IT Hub. So from day one, he was part of our team. At the same time, he's an amazing mentor. So these three brains and our active young team, which made this possible. And we have a 150 team members, engineers team, which is dedicated, make sure our company is thriving. Talking about product and services, we don't work with e-commerce. We don't work with website development, UI development, UX development, or mobile application development. We are crystal focused on AI and IoT. We believe that's a hard journey to expand and having a strong financial background in the initial time period. But when it's hit, when it's getting stable, product company could thrive. A brand out of Sri Lanka could thrive. So we work day and night for 9 years to make sure a platform which is developed in Sri Lanka and it's expanded globally. Now, SenzMatica IoT platform used by companies like Rogers, HSBC, Starbucks, Circle K, Elf Cosmetic, and various companies around the world. So SenzMatica, it's a ultra low weight, high performance IoT platform. You can connect machineries, you can connect sensors, you can connect images, videos, anything you can translate into digital data. And then when it's available in digital form, you can play around with it, building AI, integrating with existing platforms, or creating an API or anything. So it's a full end-to-end IoT platform from hardware to AI development. So this is our framework. On top of this framework, we have built so far like over 300 to 400 libraries, AI libraries, and IoT libraries where you can use in any sort of product line. So with this base framework, we build sector-specific or vertical-specific solutions or OEM services on medical tech, post-COVID, that was an amazing hit, and supply chain, manufacturing, telecommunication, fintech, and our very own agriculture technology. So we're working on 8 to 10 different vertical, but it's all have the same architecture like IoT platform, which is free and open source, and we implement that in any industry. On top of that, we reuse our libraries and building applications on top. So I will go through a few applications in later stages. So this is the entire idea to give a high level idea. So we connect sensors. We work with hundreds of sensors. We put soil sensors, environment, climate in the agriculture. We put vibration sensors, gyroscope, accelerometers to understand physiotherapy, Parkinson and stroke, or vehicle movement. We put fuel sensors to understand the level monitoring on fuel and silos and different areas. And photoactive radiation sensors, spectrology sensors. So we work with hundreds of sensors, collect information, translate that information to create a digital twin of any ecosystem. It could be a machine, it could be a human being, it could be a patient with Parkinson and stroke. We can digitally recreate its presence, its activities and behaviors. With that, we understand that person or the object 24/7 to give what it's supposed to have on that particular time period in a snapshot. So same thing on we connect machineries, we connect computer vision like cameras and video imagery, CCTVs, you name it. So we work with different machineries, translate that into different digital form. And communication is highly important. We work with cellular network, Wi-Fi, LoRaWAN, Sigfox, you name it. So it's a complete end-to-end AIoT platform and services. So let me explain what made this particular change. 2021, if you take agri-tech, we have 100 data points. That means 100 sensors deployed throughout anywhere. Now, 2040, we have 40,000 data points. We collect from farmers, we collect from sensors, we collect from machineries. We have over 40,000 data points. In Medtech, it's even more. We have over 100,000 data points, patient records, patient medical information, generated AI technologies and sensors implemented. So it's all happens for a few reasons. This expansion, let me explain you some ideas. One of the major reason, it's COVID. Fortunately, it went well. We are not expecting to have another pandemic situation, but COVID gives a fantastic breakthrough. If you have chopped through the timeline, you can see before COVID, we are a 25 engineers team. Post COVID, we are an 150 engineers team. This change, remarkable change happened because when COVID happened, everything was locked and people never prepared. So remote access, remote communication, remote management, remote control, it's become mandatory. And people started moving to Zoom, just like the Jaffna Club conversation. It's all started during COVID. So we're connecting through virtual mechanisms. So when people connecting digitally, you have to create digital twins to understand your workflow, progress, process, and machines and your environment. So IoT become one of the main norm to work out. The second opportunity, while we implementing huge number of controlling mechanisms, sensors here and there and around the world, we are in 14 countries at the moment. And all this deployment happens starting from COVID. And now we have enough data to work with AI implementation. So we generate data. So it's our own data. So we are not dependent on any third-party data sets or depend on any regulation. We generate our own data because we work with sensors and applying those data points to create artificial intelligence. So that's why we turn ourselves into SenzMate IoT to SenzMate AIoT, artificial intelligence of things, rebrand ourselves. So our technology stack involve embedded AI technologies. We working with machineries, we working with microcontrollers from RSAFE to NVIDIA, from Intel. We do programming like firmware development and for artificial implementation on wearable devices, large number of technology implementation on hardware level. So very few AI or software companies can claim that have the better understanding on hardware. And you can count the number of startups or companies, even large companies in Sri Lanka, who can work with hardware. So we one of the pioneers and we are very strong on that aspect, which allow us to work on very special use cases. Imagine a medical ecosystem or fintech ecosystem. When their data is so private, so important, if you want to build an AI, you can't plug that data into OpenAI or ChatGPT in common language or in Gemini because your data will be public. So people want to build their own ChatGPT, own Gemini platform, large language model in-house within their hardware or within their servers. That's our capability. We are specialized on hardware. We know how to work efficiently with hardware, utilizing all the possibility of hardware and its capability. We implement large language models, locally develop large language model with privately trained data. So that open up amazing doors for us. That's why Starbucks to HSBC become part of it. So that is our USP and uniqueness, working on the edge computer environment, but still you build a large language model or generative AI technology. The second opportunity what we get is generative AI open. So for the first time ever, a common man can efficiently communicate with a supercomputer or a large powerful machinery, communicating with an interface, which is very layman term interface, to communicating to access a huge processing power, an AI processing power. It's never been done. We have communicated a lot, but ChatGPT or Gemini or this open AI and large language model technology open up different doors. Common man can understand AI. So that's the strength. So we utilize that strength. We use image technology and recreate that into communication mode. We use big data to use that into communication mode and visualize everything into mobile web or integrating with third-party platform like SAP or Odo or any data migration platforms or anything. So this entire spectrum allow us to working on IoT and Gen AI or a combination. So which is our strength, and we utilize our strength to the best level. So let me go take you through few examples. We have built hundreds of applications so far, but all these applications have reusable libraries. So that's our IP. So IP is SenzMatica Platform, an AIoT platform. On top of that, we have large number of libraries we have built. So these libraries allow us to recreate whatever we build in a half of the workload we have to do in a full scale development. So which made us affordable, but we have very qualified and rapid development process. So even companies who started to working in India, they switch the AI component to us. Large number of companies from Halliburton to 7-Eleven. There are plenty of companies, Elf Cosmetic, they're working with us switching from India. So that's something we brand ourselves that we are efficient. Our analytical skills helps a lot. So we work wearable devices. We're working with telecommunication companies. So if you are in Canada or Toronto, especially, so if you working with Rogers, if your network provider is Rogers, all your data storages or your 4G routers communicating through SenzMate IoT platform, which is made in Sri Lanka. So we have 200,000 plus 4G routers connected to our gateway or our platform. So every single log, every single online, offline statuses, every single bandwidth management happen through our platform. So the entire experience is smooth. It's going through our device management platform. So it's completely managed by SenzMatica platform. So that's one of the success story, and we're replicating with T-Mobile, Verizon, and Vodafone right now. So the number 5, this is my personal favorite at the moment. This is for the developing nation. So giving the capability of computer vision AI. Imagine in the Medtech ecosystem, companies like General Electrics, they have huge machineries, like for let's say ECG machine, which can connect to internet. It's an IoT device. It's create alerts whenever there is a threshold peaking happen. You need an alert to be generated. It can create report. So doctors no need to sit, or nurses no need to continuously observe that patient, because it's automatically generating an alert if something goes wrong. But 95% of the machinery is still working around the world, but it don't have that internet connected capabilities. All are legacy machine, but it's still working. So instead of going for an exchange of $1 million machine, we come up with a simple $1,000 camera with the same capability. NVIDIA powered camera called Jetson Nano, which sees the ECG machine dashboard. It understands color, it understands light, it understands numbers, dials, graphs. So it's understand all the features what shows in the dashboard. Recreate the exact same experience a connected machine can create. A report generation, real-time alerts, real-time annotations, indications for the nurses or doctor to attend that patient for a fraction of less than, more than 10,000 times cheaper price point, an affordable price point with the same quality of experience. So this is our capability. Coming from this part of the world, we reach out to for problems in a different perspective. So that's our capability. We utilize that. And in India, Sri Lanka, and many places, we are trial run on this particular product line. And AgTech, which I will be explaining more in my next slides, because that's something we are heavily investing at the moment in Northern Province. Jagan knows a little bit on it, but I love to give us full progress on that aspect. So second opportunity, as I said, the generative AI. So you give data and you generate and you communicate with individual, just like a human being, you can communicate and pull out huge amount of knowledge. That's a fantastic opportunity to work with. So I will give you a few examples. So imagine working for a drive-through, working in a drive-through, or you are purchasing something from a drive-through. Initially, there is a person who receiving your information, what you're looking for. So you, let's say you're saying like, I'm looking for a diet medium Coke. Sometimes you might say, I'm looking for a Coke DM. Literally, both are same, a Coke DM and Coke diet medium. But understanding this aspect from an AI perspective is something interesting and something unique. So a voice over machine which understand your voice, understand different languages. A human cannot do that. 100 plus languages you can order your food. and that can be automatically progressed. It's not stop from understanding, it's automate the process. Automatically, your request goes to the kitchen and another request goes to the POS system. Whenever you are traveling towards your collection, everything will be on ready. So your bill and your food. And just like a human being, it's understand a Coke DM versus Coke dat medium. It's both same. It's understand that part. And in 100 plus languages. So that capability gives you 35% faster queue process and enormous amount of knowledge in terms of different language communication and dialects. So this is something we implement in a local edge computing environment for a drive-through system. Talking through another company, this is a cosmetic company, a world-class cosmetic company with more than 6 million followers in Instagram. We built 3 different chat application, chatbots. So the first chatbot communicate with people or customers. So imagine influencer, she do a makeup in an Instagram. With 6 million followers, at least 100,000 people commenting or communicating in this chat through email or in the chat. So far, it's been almost 1.5 years. Still, no one figured out they are communicating with an AI. You don't need a huge team. Now, AI communicating that you can ask anything. This is my picture, this is my color tone. Would this makeup work for me? It can answer. It understand image, multimodal technology. It's understand image, understand its response, understand dialogue and dialect, and it's communicate perfectly. And if it can't answer anything, it raise that information to the right person. So communication with people, that's one chatbot. It's successfully running for more than 1.5 years right now. They are very happy with the solution. Then they went for 2 more applications in a similar model. The second one is the most interesting one. Let's say you are a wholesaler or a retailer in a different country or a distributor. So you communicate on a purpose of accessing something. The AI will bargain with you. So if you bringing this much of business for me, I will give it to you. He might say, I'm coming from a small country. It's very hard to achieve that. So it's bargain. Let's say, what about this number? So this AI actually bargain just like a human being with a retailer to make this achievement and automate the entire signing up process and just it take a digital signature from the respective human being unless everything will be taken care by the AI. The third one is very interesting and it's very critical. Talking to investors, people who want to invest on new cosmetic and new investments, this AI communicate with investors and convincing them just like a founder. So it's negotiate with the investors. This is will be the future, and you have to invest on it. This way, where we are moving towards. This is our vision. It's communicate with the investor. Different perspective, different audience with the same data, but a human can be replicated. A founder can talk to an investor. A salesman can talk to a retailer. A customer care officer can talk to a customer. But this AI can talk to everyone in different perspective. So that's the interface what we get from Gen AI's strength and power with Meta and recent applications. And NVIDIA put huge amount of resources to machine power. The opportunities are huge. So we believe next 3 years there is a huge opportunity workout. So we don't want to miss this window. So we are aggressively progressing our market opening to EU market as well. So that's our strength at the moment. So far, we won plenty of international awards. So we presented in World Food Program 3 days back. So this is something which shows us that one of the pioneers in this region, and we won plenty of impact-driven in technology awards. At the same time, social impact awards locally and globally, from Accenture to Slush. I'm part of World Food Program and a part of World Bank's climate impact young entrepreneurs program as well. So it's a globally known company at the moment. So comes to our CSR program. So we believe giving money, it's not something tangible and sustainable. So our entire CSR program is focusing on creating knowledge and creating capacity for the young professionals who can thrive more. So our strength is AI. So you can find 1,000 web developers or mobile developers, but the need, it's like quality over quantity. Sri Lanka is known for quality. So we can't compete with India in terms of quantity. So having huge number of web developers, you give $5 in Fiverr, you have a UI designer. So which we don't want to end up in. So that's where SenzMate create this industrial AIoT bootcamp. It's a 3 months crash course program. This is the third cohort happening right now on document processing with GenAI. So far, close to 150 engineers or programmers trained to become AI and IoT experts. This 3 months course program completely free. You must be a trained professional or a software engineer with 1 or 2 years experience, but you can switch yourself into an AI. This is the first part. Give a hands-on application and real industrial applications. So that take us to reach huge number of engineers who are capable of AI. And the best part, now we have a huge pool, roughly around 600 plus applications and CVs. They are willing to join SenzMate as an AI engineers. So we kind of sort out our brain drain issue. I mean, going out of Sri Lanka, people moving out of Sri Lanka because of the inflation, and they have much better opportunities. So we have 96% retention in SenzMate from day one whenever they join. That's an amazing story. So that comes take me to a point where how we figure out how to use North and sustain in North and building a team. So initially, majority of companies, they create a huge team in Colombo when they want to move to Northern Province. They take their industrial professionals to create that from different part of the country and creating a small team, youngsters in the Northern Province. It's very hard to sustain because they create a large team who are just adapted to the local environment in North. The experience which is coming from industrial focus, that cannot be adapted in North. That's unfortunate scenario because we need to give some exposure from the industry in the Northern Province. So what it's again thanks to COVID, all our top level engineers who coming from my batch or previous batches, like 10 plus years of experience and continuous their friends and network, it's eventually become a Northern Province team, almost 100%. And now when we become 150 engineers, still we retain like 80% plus north based engineers team. But what we did during COVID, when our senior engineers moved to North, they settle there, become a hybrid version to work with, and that settlement with industrial experience create a branches of kids or juniors. They adapted to industrial north, but still stay in north. So people who were working for Rogers and Starbucks are coming from Northern Province Jaffna. So that's the best part of it. So we keep our business development and the hardware team in Sri Lanka, Colombo. The rest, the complete ML, AI, full stack development, which is happens from Northern Province, mostly from Jaffna. And we have a synergy with Jaffna engineering faculty, where we have a space for our IoT R&D and so on. So we have a team working from there as well. So this synergy, I think this strategy work for many companies, must create experienced entrepreneurs who can stay and work from Jaffna, not to jump here and there, and place them in North and creating a branch of youngsters grow with industrial norms and standards by following him. So fortunately, that's happened to us. All our head of operations are from North. They stayed, they studied in Moratuwa, worked for big industries for 10 plus years, and they settled in North. And now they are creating their next generation of SenzMate engineers from Northern Province itself. So we're going to continue this, even though we hit 500 or 1,000 employees range. Okay, so in the next 15 minutes, I want to give you a small brief on our the big movement we're making in Jaffna at the moment, or Northern Province specifically, called Sense Agro Connect. This is purely based on Sense Agro, the agriculture spin-off venture what we did. So this is one of our dream project because initially we started in North with agri-tech, but people's adaptation, people are completely disconnected on the market linkages. People are completely disconnected in terms of modern agriculture practices, and there is no data source at all. Only 4 weather stations government implement in the Northern Province for all 5 districts. This is the biggest scenario, what we find difficult because it's a dry zone. Complete Northern Province is on dry zone. We have 3 different soil type DLL, whether it's agroecological zones, we call it DLL 1, 2, 3. So it's all dry zone. There's no other climatic condition. So we're supposed to have huge number of weather station, hyper-local weather stations to understand different geographical changes. So meteorological changes, sorry. So with 4 weather stations, which all placed in the coastal region, there's no much information we can collect or distribute to the farmers end. That's one major issue we figure out. Second thing, soil testing never been done. No one knows what available within our soil, what can grow, what kind of cash cost crop we can go for. So far, we do something which is traditionally we do, and we continue to do the same thing again and again and again. There's no changes at all. And we are never built value addition on top of it. It's paddy for centuries. It's coconut for centuries. So there's nothing new happens. So understanding the soil give us a different edge where what are the other things we can experiment. We see amazing examples in the southern part of Sri Lanka also. Companies like Haley's, they have a company called QSeed. They're working for Japan on hybrid flower seeds, which is matched with the gold price point. Equal amount of gold, equal amount of seed price. So if it's 200,000 per gram, 8 grams of seed, is the exact same price of the gold for the year. So that's something interesting technologies and interesting crop varieties they experiment. So we want to try out that as well. So we can create SenzAgro Connect, which is kind of a huge investment for us. So so far we create 27,000 farmers throughout Sri Lanka, roughly around 14,000 farmers from northern province, and we are in 10 countries. We have 400 plus automated farms in Sri Lanka, which is means sensors and controlling irrigation and fertigation, everything full-fledged automation services. So we thought now we are ready to invest our own money and collect private funding and implement something in Northern Province, our dream project. Collecting much as possible data and smartly advising our farmers to the complete digital value chain. So we identified 3 major problems. We worked with ILO in 2022 to work out a huge feasibility study. Based on that study, we figured out farmers' major problems are: one is unfair trade, huge number of middlemen. If you take from Puliankulam, if I purchase papaya for 40 rupees, same day in Colombo, which is 350 rupees. This disparity happened because of the middleman chain and the supply chain issues. Second thing, farmers never had this price control. No one do bookkeeping and no one knows how much cost they involve in the cost of production. So per kilogram of brinjal, no one knows how much is cost for them. So this is one of the major issues where they can't put a price point. This is my price. If I go below this, I'm making loss. Every farmer, almost everyone making loss because of this. Buyers are smart. Usually all are perishable. We don't have a supply chain. We don't have cold rooms. After 2 days, you must sell this, whatever the price point comes in. So that's what buyers advantage, they making advantage of farmers. So what we did, instead of conventional farming, we inspired from an Indian model called private agricultural mandi. So in India, they have a concept, especially in South India, they have a concept called private agriculture mandi, where they create a private market and they know what comes to the market. In Sri Lanka, what happens? We take every our products every day morning to the market. No one buys until it's piled up like a mountain. So then you have huge number of production, price goes very low. If you have less production comes in, buyers just take the advantage on that. So they just closely observe the market. But farmers blindly bring everything on the same day, but no one knows what my neighbor grow, what going to be available on the market. So this made farmers vulnerable in terms of bargaining. So private agriculture mandi, farmer producer companies, like small group of farmers, let's say 1,000 farmers in a community, they decide before the harvest period, before the rotation period. This rotation, 100 farmers, you do onion, this 50 you do banana, this 50 you do lime, and so on. So they know after 3.5 months when the market opens, how much production going to be come to the market from this particular community. How many kilograms of onion will become, because they know 100 acres worth of onion were cultivated on this particular community. We're going to have 100 acres worth of harvest only. So, but we can't dictate our farmers to do only this, and they definitely not going to listen. So we reverse engineer that. in a way, we understand, we request farmers to just update 2.5 months before when you planting something new, what is your new crop rotation? So now we know in Kokuturwa in Mullathievu, how many farmers cultivating groundnut at this moment and they are expecting harvest in January. How many kilograms or tons we are going to expect in January of groundnut from Kokuturwa in Mullathievu. This data is available in our platform from 13,500 farmers for 16 different crops. So this is where we come SenzAgro Connect, where we have 2.5 months time to find market and bargain with them. It's not after your harvest, only 3 days to bargain. So we have 2.5 months to bargain. So this time we allow us to work with SMEs. We onboarded 85 SMEs so far. We are looking forward to onboard more. And we're going to interconnect both buyers and farmers. So far, what we enabled 13,500 farmers in 5 different districts. 400 plus SMEs, our target so far 85 is onboarded. We have implemented 20 weather stations in 20 different clusters. So this weather stations give real-time information. All our Davis instrument weather station, we don't want to go for cheap product. So this is coming from US. These weather stations provide us 3 days accurate weather prediction and 10 days weather prediction, which you can have it on 70% accuracy. So that opportunity, plus we have put 1,500 soil testing. So far, 500 collected and tested. The second batch of another 500 happens in 5 different districts. So 1,500 soil testing in 5 districts, roughly around 300 soil sample from one district, gives a complete heat map of pictures, what we have below our ground, where we can do something. Usually it takes 1 to 2 months time period for a lab to test one results, and it's never been done properly. So we brought a team from India. So they came in within 2 weeks. It's a technology called multispectral technology. They did a testing within half an hour. So this is a new technology we introduced to the Jaffna University, where they're closely working with them right now. It's never been tried in Sri Lanka before. So these are some of the areas we're working on, collaborating with the university, introducing new technology, and make sure it's efficiently implemented in the ground. So we connect farmers with buyers in between everything, and we make sure everything are smart decision making because we have data on weather. So every rotation we have the soil condition, and we know the market demand and enable the forecasting to cultivate the same thing. And we know the yield estimation beforehand, so we can arrange and rearrange the market accordingly. So we make sure less food wastage, less overproduction or underproduction. We make sure the market balance is always managed. So this is what SenzAgro Connect. It's roughly around 80 million rupees invested so far. We got a grant from GSMA for roughly around 40 million, and another 30-40 million we invest so far, and we going for another round of investment if it's required to expand this going forward. Because that was our dream project, to create a complete data map of Northern Province agriculture ecosystem, and now we are achieving that with our capability. So this is what I like to introduce you to, what we do at the moment in the North and globally, how we expanding and so on, where our focus is. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions if you have. Thank you so much for listening to me.
No, thank you, Miller. You took quite a lot longer than normal, but it would have broken my heart to interrupt you because it was just so interesting, so amazing. I'm going to open the floor. We have 15 minutes, okay? So can you please put your hands up if you have a question? Yeah, Lasantha, please. You're muted, Lasantha. Lasantha, you're muted.
It's okay, right?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah. Hi, thank you for that brilliant presentation. Okay, so I'm from Avankalanka Foundation, which is a foundation in the south, but we work in the north. So currently we work with the farmer community, and what you said is exactly their problem, right? And I think you have diagnosed it very well. my question is, how are we to kind of, exponentially kind of scale this up? What you're doing is fine, but the farmers, as leave alone the rest of the country. So in the north, they are kind of very desperate, right? So is there a way where we could exponentially? That's my question.
Sure. Thank you so much, Lasanta, for that question. So actually, Northern Province, it's basically the entry where we put our investments in. But we closely working with different ecosystems and like for an example, agrarian department, we just signed up with them to recreate and replicate the same process in Tambuttegama and so on. So the main thing is like we have only 13,000 farmers from North. So we are a 27,000 farmers platform, rest coming from south. So we have an expanded network of farmer base throughout Sri Lanka, but there's supposed to be a point where we start. So north, the purpose of north, because in terms of GDP contribution also, which was like on the last end, tail end of the GDP contribution to the country. But if you take 30, 40 years back, it was on number 2 or 3. So must be developed on that region. Second thing, it's kind of a silo at the moment. So if something disruption happens and if something goes wrong, it won't impact the southern part of the country much because in the northern province, it's pretty much end from the except for the Vaunia, which is have more connectivity to Dambulla market. The agriculture ecosystem pretty much created and end within that northern province itself. Everything goes to the local market or export to the diaspora community. So experimenting something internally because we are enabling everything to the digital enable from you planting something today you have to update us, and there's 200 plus training we conduct every single month. So this is a huge operation. We don't want to disrupt the existing ecosystem and smoothly happening and so on. So that's something we have worked with. But as you rightly said, this is something we have to replicate. So our next talk would be on Tambuttegama with the Mahavali Authority, where we collaborating with them. We already spoke with the RPM and we are recreating the same scenario with 40,000 farmers in the Tambuttegama. So it's eventually and gradually it's grow to the entire country. So fortunately, and hopefully with this government, we can replicate because we tried for the past 5-6 years and it never been done. Only 4 agri ministers change. That's all happens in the last 4 years of implementing this. But this time we had a very good positive approach from agrarian department is very soon signing up. So then we're replicating in Anuradhapura, Dambulla, those region. So it eventually comes to down. So nothing to worry, Lasanta. Definitely we can also collaboratively work on this. And so it's not only for now. So not the entry point, as you rightly said.
Thank you. Now, I see at least 2 hands going up physically because people don't know how to press the hands up button. But Kurt put his hand up first and then Sean second. So Kurt, please.
Yes, correct.
Hi, Miller.
Hi.
I'm audible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's excellent.
So Kurt is in Australia. He's in Perth.
Okay.
I'm in Australia, in Perth, but a Jaffna boy.
Sure.
Through and through. So, it was an excellent presentation. I think I have heard you before, right? 2 years down the track. I mean,
definitely. I was presented at Jaffna Club itself 2 years back. This is a progress meeting, pretty much like, yeah.
It's an amazing thing, the way you are progressing. I have many questions because I'm so, engrossed with what you said and amazed what you are saying and what you're going through.
Can I ask you to keep it to 2 questions and then I'll put you in touch directly with Miller?
No, that's okay. Okay,
yeah.
One question. First question is, you are mentioning that, it's so huge, 150 engineers. Where do you find them in Jaffna? I work in Jaffna. I have a business. People ask me, where do you find these people? I said, I have to depend on Jagan to find the people. You're finding 150 engineers, right?
Yes.
That's one question. And it's a difficult question to ask. how do you pay them, right? Is it in US dollars, Sri Lankan rupees? How do you keep them in Sri Lanka? Okay.
Sure.
And the next question is, the innovation,
two.
you know.
Okay,
You-
one more, Kurt,
Have, I-
one
have I
more,
done
Kurt,
that? One more, yeah.
one more.
Yeah. One more, it's not a question. It's just also to say that how I am impressed, because I am also an electronics engineer, right? I use the previous technology, DTMF and FM, to turn off
Yes.
and off satellite switches. So microwave, FM. So you guys are coming with data technology, but I'm an old engineer. So it's okay. I'm really impressed with what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Thanks so
Miller,
much.
those two
Sure.
questions.
Yes, good. So thank you so much for the vision, and it's definitely an interesting question. So, so the way we hired initially, and it's become our norm also. So we are coming from 2009 advanced level batch. So that's our. So we are getting into the Morato University. We have like 70% Morato engineers in our team. So the first batch, starting from our batch and our seniors, so their friends stick to us 3 years. So it took 18 months to get my first salary from my team. So that's how every startup works. And so they stick to us. So that's the core team. So then our friends and friends network who getting into the university, we support them even before the university. Thanks to the IoT community, we get to know who going to be selected in merit into university, and they're going to be getting first class end of the day. So that's the best. And we know them even before they are getting into the university. They're closely working with us even before they're starting. So that was the initial days. Now we become a safe place for Northern Province engineers to land in. The first soft land. Then they love the work culture. The meeting goes in Tamil most of the time. So they love the work culture and they continue to stick to us. Over 96% retention so far. So how it works. So now initially it was just friends and friends continuously. They just joining us SenzMate. But it's not the second point. I think the only thing we misunderstood in terms of Northern Province, it's Jaffna. Jaffna is, I mean, Northern Province is huge. So we have engineers starting from Vaunia, Klenochim, Mullatevu, from Jaffna. So they're working from wherever they are comfortable. So thanks to COVID, this hybrid culture, which allow us to work on a less resource investment, focus more on the engineers and the individuals and their salaries. So the second question, yes, we pay on dollars and Sri Lankan rupees. We pledged around $250, 250 rupees when the inflation start on equal to dollar. So then when it's hit 360, then it's come down to 300 right now. So they're getting paid really well. So they're on dollar value. So or else it's very hard to compensate. Because now, day one, out of Morato University, engineers from electronics or CSC, which is roughly around $1,000 plus, minimum $1,000. That's the cutting edge number. So we definitely pay beyond that. So that's how we retain them. But honestly, how we retain, it's on the adrenal because all are young. We are very young. We might be the oldest guys. I'm 34. So, but we are the oldest people on the team. So unlike other ecosystems, we pay everything. Like we pay insurance, we pay ETF, and they have allowances and going through Sri Lankan tax allocation. Everyone paying tax. That's another scenario, very beautiful part of it. But the way we keeping it, the adrenal rush. So we have huge investments towards HR. So probably Jagan knows we take them to rush water riding, paintball games, and we play cricket. We go hiking. So because these are young guys, they are not experiencing like going to a hotel and settled up and playing guitar and come back with family. That's yes, that's for a certain extent, but majority of time it's all about adrenal rush. They get tired, they enjoy the team, they work as a team, and the culture, we celebrate Ayuda Puja like last couple of weeks back. So it's pretty much feel like home, but it's risky also to maintain that. Now we feeling it, honestly speaking, on this call, because moving towards from a startup to a corporate stage without having a hierarchy, complete flat, it's again a risk move where having a family business, it's not going to work. And this is not a family also. So we eventually moving out with more consultation. I explained to Jahan also regarding this in the past. But so far, the way we retail it, they find everything what they need. They're working from their hometown, home place, at home. They're having their wife or mother's meal, but they get paid in dollars. So what else you need? So that's how we basically keep them alive and engaged. And we give more priority also. So we trust them. That's we always do. And we give more priority. So that's what like Starbucks developed in Jaffna. So that happened because we trust them. So we give the full priority and we take the risk. We don't make sure that our team is safe. And thanks to Ruben and team, we have a good business development team in the North America and UK, where we have a really good relationship with the client. So we make sure we get paid very well with the big brands, and our team get paid very well, and we also making profit. So past 3 years, we are a profit making company. So hopefully it's all aligned properly. But going forward, we expect many risks because of the flat culture and a family type of a culture moving towards a corporate. We expecting that. So we expecting to accept challenging that as well. So hopefully we are going on the right way. I hope I answered you.
Thank you. Sean, you had your hand up?
I do. I don't have a way of being able to put an electronic hand up. It's not because I'm not able to. I can't. It's the anyway. One recommendation, two questions. Recommendation: maybe you should look at the carbon capture and storage and the hydrocarbon industry using sensors for detecting leakages for CO2 and for methane. That's one suggestion. I can talk to you about that if you want offline.
So just Sean is my brother-in-law, but he was a director of an oil exploration company.
Perfect. I want to have it.
Yeah. So let's have a chat about that later. I noticed you've got a Shirley address there. Maybe we can talk face to face with somebody. Questions. Number one, do you own do you own the data that your clients are collecting? How do you manage that? And my second question is, in the North Province, would you be interested in also integrating sensors that relate to water quality and also to solar panel electricity generation to look at how we might optimize network systems, distribution network systems?
Sure, definitely, Shyam. Thank you so much for the question. The first question on the data. So obviously the companies came to us because they were very concerned about the data. Yes, we don't own the data, but we own the models built out of that data. So when it comes to machine learning, you apply the data, learn the patterns, then you have a model that can be applied to any other data which is coming in the future. So the data, it's unnecessary after we train them, after we create the model. So we create libraries with the data, then it's done. So we don't own the data. So if you talk about HSBC, Starbucks, now we are working with Johor Health, which is again Sri Lankan who working for Mayo Clinic right now. So all those medical or any secure data, privacy protected data, no one can own it. So that's the main reason they can't work with OpenAI or Google Gemini, and they want to create their own large language model with us. So we create their models within their own premises, own computer, internet, not internet connected, edge computer processing. So that's allow us to build a model, but the data definitely owned by the client only. We don't own the data. Hope that answers the question. We have models which learn from the data, which can be replicated for a new data which is coming from the same industry, but data, it's not belong to us. Yeah, so can you repeat the second question if I am not apologies. The second question, Sean?
About integrating other types of parameters like water quality and solar panel.
Thank you, Sean. Actually, I'm supporting the young water community also, Professor Sri Raja, and also in the past we worked with them. So we collect water sensors also. I'm not sure whether I showed in this scenario. We have water sensors implemented. You can see here. So the agronomists have a handheld water sensor. We collecting every single, unlike the southern part of Sri Lanka, we don't have much reservoirs. So the food basket of Sri Lanka, pretty much the north central province, which has huge number of 6,000 plus reservoirs, and all the water coming from that, and the down south, which is coming from streams and rivers. We don't have both. So north has agro well systems. We have very small ponds and reservoirs. So we have very small river system, which is not, we can consider as a canal system. So the dams and reservoirs are not there. So we collect on household level data. So we need to create each number of data points. So what we do, a handheld sensor we given to our field officers, we have 24 of them in the ground. So these guys collect from farmers level agro well data, which talk about the pH, EC at the moment, pH, EC, ppm, and soil temperature, water temperature, and so on, just to understand the contamination aspect due to the runoff from the agro industry. But we don't have a large information so far collected from water quality throughout the region and or from the lagoons or from the Mannar or anything. So it's purely from agro well perspective. We have a tiny amount of data, but I love to collect those information going forward because there's a dedicated industry picking up. I got some opportunity on blue crab cultivation on grants and so on. So the lagoon area. So we looking forward to work on that. If there's an opportunity, Sean, I love to engage with you on that.
Okay, so I'll share Miller's contact details so people can contact him later. Darcy, you'll be the last question, and then I'm going to give myself the last question.
Yeah, Miller, very
Darcy,
impressive present.
Darcy, you have to be
Miller, my question is, when are you going to be listed in the Nasdaq? That's my simple question.
That's an interesting question. We have a peculiar idea on that. Whether we want to listed, that's a question, but we also brainstorming us. Whether we're going to so listing is one, maybe we're going to mean exit. So we thinking in a different perspective. So we get different opinion from different people, and at the moment only we are stabilizing. There are private companies we know, for an example, SOTI, one of our inspirational company on IoT platform. It's almost a $15 billion company, still a private company. And Info, another company, which is a $60 billion company, still a private company, incorporated. So it's a question whether we want to go for an IPO and listed company, not especially in Sri Lanka, maybe listing in Singapore the closest or in US. But it's early to decide or talk about, but we are definitely discussing on that internally because we are 3 founders, young, we don't have much experience. So we have people who exit companies and went to public listed companies in the past. So we are still discussing on that. I don't have a straight answer for now. For
you. Thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you and good luck. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to leave the last few words to me because I'm in charge. So first thing I'd suggest you think about, because I remember the dot-com wave. And the dot-com wave, you were still a small boy at school. But I was probably, well, I was younger than you are now. A lot of money sloshed around the dot, and then it bust. And one thing you should think about is spin-offs. So if you can spin something off, make your money. So make your millions from that. When you exit, you don't need to exit the whole thing. You don't need to IPO the whole thing. So think about that.
Definitely, Jagan. So SenzAgro in that perspective, you know better. So SenzAgro is a spin-off venture. We're definitely looking into an exit point because that's the only thing we. So honestly, as I said, like we were bootstrapped. SenzMate is a bootstrap company, so we got community funding. So SenzAgro, we raised investment from John Kills and then Mr. Bernard Chinaya from private equity. So SenzAgro, we're going for another bridge round before our series round. So we're looking into an investment global perspective, especially from EU market and the Southeast Asian market. So because those are our expectations. So definitely SenzAgro will be an exit, just to bet our beak on which is our exit way or IPO or going for an exit. So I believe SenzAgro, after the exit of SenzAgro, we'll have a better idea what would be the next step for SenzMate. But as you rightly said, SenzMate have a lot of things to explore, spin off, then we exit, making money and so on. So we are happy. We love what we do. So that's make us running across the world.
One suggestion is you need to, it's, they say trying to judge when the market's going to fall, catching a fall is a knife. You generally cut your hand. But when the market is high, make some money. And then
love to
that
explore
money
that.
and invest it, and the other money, the last two things, but I think I'll have to wind up now, is that there are two things that you've done, which I've been preaching for a long time. One thing is, in the North, we spend too much time training young people, and we don't spend enough time bringing back experienced people.
Exactly.
And anyone who knows me knows that that's one of my sermons that I repeatedly make. And the other thing, which I'll close this down, is that copying is a wonderful thing. So when you see a successful model somewhere in India or anywhere else,
Exactly.
copy it. Because you learn from other people's mistakes. Learn from other people's mistakes. There's plenty of scope doing original thought. Original thought, you know, Newton didn't discover gravity. He didn't discover calculus. Lots of people did it at the same time. He was just smart enough, like Bill Gates, to take the credit for it.
Yes.
Anyway, so I have to close this down. So, Miller, thank you so much. I think this was an amazing presentation. I think, you know, don't forget me when you've made your millions. Okay. I'm expecting a very good dinner at Jetwing Jaffna.
No problem. Anytime.
And,
And next week if you want.
and thank you very much. Thank you for the people who joined us. This session has gone over quite a lot from the normal, but because that was just so good. So once again, I will say lunchtime, tea time, bedtime for our Australian friends. And thank you very much, Miller. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jagan. Thanks, Mila.
Thank you.
Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye.